Hey everybody, going to try to make this video not 300 minutes long, which is kind of hard to be honest with you. Got a lot to say, a lot to talk about, and yeah, it's a bit difficult to make it short. I don't know how some people are doing like 5 minute videos. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, let's talk about therapy. Resistance to therapy, stigma around therapy, the right therapeutic methods to use that I think are better, that I've used myself, some of my experience with therapy, and yeah, whatever else comes up for me. So let's jump into stigma first. There's a lot of people out there that are believing that it's a sign of weakness to go to therapy. Hate to break it to you, it's completely not true. It's actually the very opposite of that. So yeah, take that weakness. Humans work better when they work together. They're just like nature. We're all under the illusion that we are separate. We are not. So yeah, you're not weak. If you're struggling and you need help and you ask for help, that's courageous. That's vulnerable. Those are both markers of strength, not of weakness. Um, Holding everything in and expecting to take life on by yourself, I don't really want to call that a sign of weakness, but it's kind of crazy, right? Like to think we could take on this whole life experience by ourselves and the grief and the things that we go through. It's not, you can't do it. I mean, you can do it, but it's not worth it. Why not offload some of that and have a better life, right? So, yeah, it's not weakness. I know there's some barriers for some people in terms of finance and things like that. There is low cost counseling out there. There's an app called BetterHelp. I've never used it. I don't know what therapeutic modalities the counselors and therapists there use, so I can't speak too much of it. But I've heard from ads and other things and other people that it's relatively inexpensive. So it may be a stepping stone just to kind of get into things for you. There's also free counseling in some areas. Just need to kind of resource yourself in that. And a lot of therapists, even like higher end ones, let's call them, that charge more money, are willing to work at like reduced rates. Just ask, email, ask, go on Psychology Today or whatever website you want to use, and email some of these people and just straight up ask them, explain your position, and you'd be surprised. A lot of them would be willing to help you. So yeah, it never hurts to ask. The worst they can say is no. I always say that, right? So you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So yeah, that kind of covers some of the stigma. I'm sure there's more, but yeah. So I know therapy is like kind of can be scary. It's for a lot of people, it's like you got to you got to face a lot of your stuff and your traumas and your emotions and your grief, and oh boy, there's just so much there. I don't want to be overwhelmed and just kind of collapse into all my pain and suffering. And you know what? It's not going to be like that. Your body is a very wise thing. It's very amazing, and it will never give you more than you can handle. So rest assured, knowing that, right? It's like there's that dam of water, right? It's a lot of people think that like you're going to take 15 bricks out at once, and it's just going to kind of come over, and it's just going to overwhelm you and flood you, and you're not going to be able to take it. It's not the case. It's never the case, unless maybe you're working with a therapist who just really sucked and is like forcing you into some like traumatic experience, then maybe. But I'm pretty sure you'd be able to tell if something like that was going on and veer out of that. So yeah, rest assured knowing that it's not going to be like that. So I want people to know that, and that is the truth. And it's important to know that. And but yeah, it doesn't take away from it being hard. It is a hard thing for sure, right? It's not easy. There can be a lot there. There's been a lot there for me, and it's taken me sometimes 10, 15 sessions just to get more comfortable with the therapist, and it may take you 20, 30. Who knows? There's no shame in that, nothing wrong with that. But it's important to build some trust and rapport. You got to feel safe, and if you don't feel safe, things won't come up. You won't get the healing you need. um, and also your therapist too, make sure you vet a good one, because it's so important for a therapist to be doing their own work. I think it's the most important thing above and beyond school. They need to be actively doing their inner work, seeing supervisors or whoever, or their own counselors or therapists, coaches. They need to be doing this and actively working on their trauma. And I would suggest even finding someone who's had a history of working on their traumas, maybe for 5, 10 years, something like that. just so they can show up for you as a clear mirror, because that's really their job, right? It's just kind of like it's you and the counselor or coach, and here's this problem, right? It's in the middle of you guys, and you're both kind of just looking at it, going like, okay, and then you get to both kind of just like be curious about that and work on it together. And if a therapist hasn't done their own work, oftentimes they're not going to be self-led and self-energy, and they're not going to come in there authentic. They're going to come in there with agendas a lot of the time, thinking they know what's best for you or based off what they've learned in school. And that's bullshit, because no one knows what's best for you except yourself, not even your parents. Only you know that. You have all the answers to this thing. So, and that's the beauty, right? No one can take your power from you in that regard. So, yeah, lean into the uncomfortability and the resistance. I promise you, there's always something there. Like I say, there's always a treasure behind every dragon, right? So, and it's just true. So, and if you don't believe me, find out for yourself and get back to me and do some of the work and then tell me it wasn't worth it. I guarantee that won't happen. So, but yeah, choose a good therapist, right? And just because they have a PhD or a master's or something, this isn't necessarily a good thing. In my own personal opinion, it's more of something I don't look for in someone. I want to look for someone who's got so much interest in this thing, because I'm a person of interest. Like, I love so many things. And like, you can probably see all these books behind me. There's a huge stack of books behind me. And it's like I would want to find someone like myself who is a therapist, who's like super interested in all this stuff and learning about trauma and learning about the soul and learning about, mental health and all these things. And it's just like really wants to like be there to like alleviate suffering. Right. And is totally able to like accept your worldview of things instead of imposing their own. That's important too, right? Just meeting you where you're at. So yeah, no, I can't stress it enough. Find someone they love what they do. They want to do what they want to do, and they're enjoying, too, what they do. So, and you'll be able to tell generally just after a few sessions working with someone. So yeah, that's a big one. Finding a therapist who's a clear mirror, and just ask questions, really, if you want to figure that out. Like I said, what work have you done on yourself? Have you processed your traumas? Are you still working on them? And yeah, just ask the big questions. You can look it up online too. What are some good questions to ask therapists? I'm not going to go on a tangent about more and more of that. So yeah, find a good one. And so my own personal, and also actually, before I go to that, let's go to which modalities to use, what to look for in a therapist. Look for someone who's using something like somatic experiencing, which is an experiential based training, which is like it works with the nervous system and the body, which helps to process trauma. EMDR, I don't have experience with it, but a lot of people have gotten a lot of help from that. So you can look for that. And internal family systems, parts work, or IFS. This is great work. It's one of the most sought after therapeutic modalities in the world right now. Even the level 1 trainings have even the level 1 trainings have an over 1 year wait list right now. It's crazy. It is so great. And I do that work with my coach, mixed in with something like focus therapy and some shamanic stuff and some soul level stuff and spiritual things. And that like works so well for me, because we're all multiple and we all have parts, and all parts carry burdens and traumas. And there's other things in there too, like spiritual stuff, like spirit possessions, and IFS is actually willing to acknowledge this now. It's called unattached burdens. And the founder actually has come out and said, you know what, there's more to the story. It's not just parts. There's spirit possession parts, unattached burdens that are in people. And actually, I had one, to be perfectly honest with you, that I just recently worked on. I was totally surprised by it. And yeah, super interesting. But yeah, the world's coming out about it now, right? This is a real thing. It's been a real thing in like all cultures across the world, except North America, which is crazy. We're so ignorant here, but we don't know half the fucking story. And we're going to be learning through our ignorance, to be honest with you, which I think is cool. But that's a talk for another video. So yeah, right therapists, right therapeutic modalities. Some breathwork can be good. For me, my system has been pressured, invaded, and attacked, I want to say, throughout my life. So something like breathwork is very intense. So it's kind of like coming at your system with a hammer. So yes, it can be great for a lot of people, but I didn't find the relief like a lot of people did in that. My system needs something slower and gentler and more compassionate. And that's exactly what parts IFS is. And so that works really great for me, and it works great for most people. So, but yeah, it may be rough at first. Just know that it can be a bit hard at first because you're uncovering quite a bit and you're not used to this. So sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. That's another thing to keep in mind, right? Don't just give up after 5 sessions or 10 sessions. Keep going with this thing. It's going to help you. You're going to uncover more of who you are. You're going to free yourself from traumas and emotional stress. You're going to have better emotional regulation. You're going to have better emotional intelligence. You're going to be wiser. You're going to have more energy. You're going to probably end up even eating better and exercising more and doing all these things. So you're going to love yourself now. You're going to give yourself the nurturing care and love that you deserve after all this, right? It's going to help. And then you're probably even going to go on to live out your dreams because you're going to work on that. You're going to go in there and you're going to start acknowledging things because you're going to free up energy and go, you know what? Maybe this job or this relationship or this thing isn't serving me anymore. And this is what my heart has always longed for, because you're going to connect more with your heart. And maybe you're going to go and actually live that out. Maybe you're not, and that's okay too. There's no shame in that. But kind of hard to ignore these callings when you start doing the work. They call you forward, right? And once you open that door, you can't really turn back. So, which is a beautiful thing. But just take my word for it. My life has changed drastically because of therapy, and I eat so good. I exercise. I do the sun, circadian rhythm. I do it all. The grounding, I have my like lifestyle dialed right in. And to be honest, nothing has helped me more. Well, then diet's one of the top of therapy. Therapy absolutely has helped me leaps and bounds more than anything I've ever done in my entire life. And it continues to be the number one thing that has done that. So, and I bet it will be for you too. So just push past that resistance. Resistance is the key. It's an indicator telling you you need to do it. So just know that. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say for you guys. Just kind of throw that out there. And actually, there's one more thing: behavioral therapy. Stay away from them if you can. CBT, DBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, dialect behavioral therapy. Yes, these things can be helpful, but they're not root cause therapies. So it's kind of almost gaslighting yourself doing some of these therapies. DBT is a better one than CBT for sure, but they're by no means a means to an end. They're not going to help you solve the big problems and the big things in your life. They can help you with certain things, but they're just fundamentally broken. And some of the therapists that are using those modalities are perhaps maybe unconsciously are not choosing to only use these therapies because then they don't really have to dive into some of the hard traumas and stuff of their own lives, right? Because a lot of this is an experiential based learning. Some of it is, but it still isn't enough to challenge you at your core and process your traumas. They're just not meant for trauma processing, plain and simple. And I personally believe that you're far better off skipping over these types of behavioral therapies and going on to something like internal family systems or somatic experiencing or whatever else you feel called to. But if you feel called to doing it and you want to try it, by all means. But just be warned. And I think this happens to a lot of people, is that they get kind of vetted in through the medical system, and the medical system is just so broken, and it's just leads you down a dead end path, just like with like health, right? Medicine, all that Western medicine, 90% of it is just leading you down a path of destruction, and it's not helping. They're not root cause therapy. They're band-aid fixes that usually end up causing more problems. So yeah, don't go and get vetted through the medical system, do the behavioral therapies, and then have this belief of this is what therapy's like, because it's absolutely not. That's the furthest thing from the truth. So don't let that happen to you, as it happens to a lot of people. And I think that's really unfortunate, that it gives a lot of therapists a bad name and a lot of therapies a bad name, and it's just not like that. So yeah, I would say kind of steer clear from that path if you can. But if you feel called to it and you want to try it, by all means, try it. But again, just keep that in mind. It's very important. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video and make another one in a few weeks or a month or something like that. We'll see. Okay, see you guys.